Hello everybody, Jose Rodriguez back again. Yes, we're back to work on the Pro-1000 one more time. If you saw my very long marathon-like video where I was printing and printing and printing and printing, trying to get that gray cartridge to come to a level where the sensor would detect it as being basically holding around 20 grams of ink, because that is our goal. We want to be able to be warned when the cartridge is down to like 20 last ml of ink, and that way we immediately, or a few minutes later, whatever length of time you want to wait, you can top it off to either a full load or just under full. It doesn't really matter at all because you're relying on the sensor. So let me just point out a couple of things. As you can see, the light is off here, meaning that this light is on. That means that the sensor has actually detected that the level has dropped sufficiently. Now, I waited and it was just a gram above 20. Okay, so not bad at all. And I would say that was a success. So what we're going to do now, we're going to use a photo black cartridge that I have already filled to max. I have drilled it and I'm going to replace it with this unprocessed cartridge. Now there's ink still in there, I'm quite sure, but what we are going to do, and I will switch the camera over to close-up mode, we're going to go ahead and calibrate this sensor. Now from the factory, because these are not intended basically for this kind of work, they're intended to measure water levels on whatever, okay? So at the setting that they come, for this particular application, that means that you're going to center the sensor right there like that. Okay, right between my two fingers, and you attach it. At the factory setting, this will not go off until it's about down to like 10 ml, like I explained earlier. That's just too dangerous for me a level, okay? I need a little higher level. So what we need to do is calibrate these. Now, in order to do that, you have to remove this little cap, and it's very easily done. You just get your nail, stick it between the groove, and pop off the little lid. We'll be taking close-ups of this. Now, there is a light, then there's a screw on the right. And that screw comes from the factory. If you hold this right about 12 o'clock position, the screw is also going to be around 12 o'clock position. And what I have found out is that all of them so far, I have to rotate them counterclockwise, one half, and about one more half a turn. So 1.5 turns gets me to a point where it's going to detect somewhere around 20 ml left of ink in this case. So that's really convenient because I checked my remaining 5 sensors and all of them have the screw, basically with the little slot facing up and down. I could do that very accurately because I'm going to use my control cartridge, which I know has the proper amount of ink. But if you don't want to go through that process and you want to buy your own sensors, as some of you have said that you want to do, then you will have to get them off of eBay. You'll have to look for them. I'm not going to give you the source because I really don't know the actual source. And check them, all of them, open them, and make sure that the slot of the screw is facing in the same direction across the board. That will get you at a safe level so that it is actually detecting more than 10, which is, to me, is just way too dangerous. So let me pop this back in for now. You hear it popping into position. We're going to go ahead and move the camera. I'm going to set it so that I can remove this sensor, which I know is operating correctly. We'll attach this one. I'm going to show you how to remove the tape, that little red tape, correctly. It's not as easy as you guys may think. Ladies will have no problem because they have nails. They have better nails than we men do. But we're going to try to use a scalpel blade. You can use a number 11 X-Acto blade that's the same shape, but I like the fineness and thinness of a scalpel blade, a surgical scalpel blade. So let's go ahead and move the camera in position. We'll proceed. All right, I'm going to be checking my monitor, make sure that I am not out of frame. So you take your scalpel blade, let me position it right there. See that? And you're going to score anywhere along one of the edges. You're going to go, for example, on the top edge down like that and create a little cut. You're going to take the tip of your scalpel blade and pry off. You see how tough that is to remove? You're going to pry that off as well as you can. Make sure that you did cut through. I did not. So you got to make sure you cut all the way through. Pry it off and create a little lip like that. And here's the key point. You're going to grab that either with forceps, tweezers, or your trusty nails. So there's my little loop right there. I'm going to grab it and I'm going to yank. Don't try to do it slowly. Yank. Just like that. That's all you have to do. All right, now let's go ahead and replace the sensor that I already calibrated with this uncalibrated one. All right, as you can see, this is the little defeater that you're going to remove. But in this case, we're not going to remove it because we're not really going to remove the cartridge from the ink compartment. We're just going to go ahead and pull the sensor off and attach the new sensor to it. All right, we are now staring at the fourth sensor, which is my control cartridge. We're going to, you see how it's just flickered on. Look at that. It is that sensitive. We're going to remove it. And to do that, I'm not going to push the cartridge in because I do not want to actually remove it. I'm just going to very carefully pry it off. Just by tilting it sideways, it pops right out, as you saw. I'm going to go ahead and plug the connector to one of my boards. And as you can see, my light has come on. So I'm going to carefully place it, the correct orientation, onto the cartridge. And you could see it's already acting up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and remove the little front. I should have done that before, but you can do it anytime. And access the adjustment screw. We're going to use our little micro screwdriver. And we're going to go ahead and turn this. And you got to adjust and then back off the screw because it seems to detect the screw as well. So as you can see, it is kind of making up its mind right there. It is blinking on and off. If I tilt or touch the cartridge, it turns it back off. So we're going to go clockwise just a tiny bit. And there it's on. And there it's on again. And it keeps flickering. Off, on. So that tells me that is a pretty good adjustment right there. And so at this point, we just basically attach the cap back on it. And then I can go ahead and place that particular sensor onto the one that I'm about to swap. In other words, the photo black cartridge. So now we'll have an operating cartridge. So this one basically is going to register that I have a ton of ink. So I have pulled the little defeater off. So the door is open officially. We're going to remove this cartridge. Pull the sensor off very carefully. It will come off eventually. We're just going to pop it in position now. Not all the way in. I'm going to go ahead and remove my photo black. Let me make sure that's what I am trying to replace. Yes, we're going to install this particular sensor onto the back. Make sure that it is center and on the right side because I have drilled my hole on the left side. All right, so this one is ready. As you can see, the light is on here and the light is off over there because it senses a ton of ink. Remove this one. This is almost empty anyway. and replace this one. So now we have to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This wire should go onto this board here. So we'll swap that, because that is the 6th or last cartridge in the series for this particular board. We'll bring the camera over here so you can see that the light will go off. Okay, so as you can see, this sensor is off, and now we'll pan over to the board. We will zoom in a little bit. Again, pardon all the camera moves, but it's necessary so that you can see what's going on. This is the 6th light, which represents 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this cartridge. When we plug it in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that light goes out. When the cartridge reaches the proper level of ink, this light will come on, this light will go off. And that is about it. I got 4 more to go, folks. So hang in there. The next time you see this, it's going to be completely set up and ready to roll. All right. Whew. So I am pretty confident that we can call this project pretty much done. Now all we have to do is rely on the sensors to tell us when we need ink. As you can see, we're just going to rely on the indicators here, not so much looking at the sensors, although that gives you double insurance, because when these lights are off, the matching lights on the sensor should be on, indicating that the sensor is active and is receiving power. So that concludes this massive project. Now I have to get back to Precisioncolors and let them know that I finished my installation, and we'll see. Remember, folks, remember that he is custom soldering these boards. He just orders the board. The board comes engraved. It comes pre-drilled for all the components, and so he gets those in bulk, but then he has to do the micro soldering of the components. So that's what takes time, and believe me, it is something I would not want to do. There are some of you out there that are very good at this, and so if you wish to do that, you'll have to basically figure out what components you actually need. Because I'm not about to tell you, you know why? Because I really have no clue. So that is it for now. What's it going to cost? Again, I have no idea. That is up to him. Whatever he feels is a fair price. But as you can see, look at that. Very nice cable management. There is no mess, no tangle anywhere. If I want to remove a cartridge, I remove the defeater, and say for instance we'll take out black. I stand it up, I take the plug, I add ink, I pop it back in, and I replace my defeater so that the printer thinks that I actually closed the door. And there it goes. And it will indicate that I just added a genuine cartridge. We hit OK, and we are good to go. We have 1, 2, 3 cartridges whose chips are still saying they are low. So what we will do is, once they are declared empty, they will turn red. I will go ahead and top off the required amount onto those, or just let it run until the sensor indicates that I need ink. Now, throughout the process, I'm going to be weighing the cartridges just to make sure nothing gets past me. So that is it for now. Thank you so much. I hope you guys are excited about this project. I certainly was when I first heard about the idea, and I am glad that it actually came to fruition, and I think it's going to be fantastic. So thank you so much again. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Happy printing, everybody, and bye-bye.